विश्वक्सेनाश्रयो ह्यसौ श्रुतस्य पुंसां सुचरश्रमस्य नन्वञ्जसा सूरिभिरीडितोऽर्थः यत्तद्गुणानुश्रवणं मुकुन्द पादारविन्दं हृदयेषु येषाम्. Vidura said, at that time, son of Brahma, the dear son of Brahma, Priyaputra, and the great king Swayambhuva, having obtained his wife, what did he do? Pratilabhya priyam patni kim chakara tatoma. So this is the question Vidura is asking, because in the previous chapter we read how Manu and Shatrupa, they came out from Brahma's body. So that means Manu already knew that this is my wife. He was not married. There was no marriage ceremony performed. There was no music band and dancing like we have these days. So he was married because they also existed in the previous kalpa. And they were already husband and wife. Sometimes in astrology they say that to husband and wife that you have been husband and wife for 7 lifetimes. And in India there are many wives, they pray that in next life also I should become the wife of this man. Of course now this may be inconceivable where people have divorced 4 or 5 times. And such a thing is possible. And obviously they cannot imagine that there were women in India who used to burn themselves on the pyre of dead body. They cannot imagine. Because women who are getting divorced 4 times, how can they imagine that somebody is going to burn themselves? So they think that this was like some horrible rule in Hindu law. There was no law. These women were not following any law that they have to burn themselves. But they had so much love for the husband that they preferred to burn themselves than remaining alive. For them, remaining alive was more painful and miserable than burning alive themselves. So that is the sign of their love. That's why they were called Sati. Sati does not mean burning. Sati means chaste. Chaste. Pure.
Chaste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Means they were so chaste and so pure and so devoted. That's why they were called Sati. And this whole process was being given the name performing Sati. Sati is not some burning. Sati has nothing to do with burning. So that's why he said that pratilabhya. Not only that he obtained, but he already had her. So there was no need for them to getting married. He recognized. Because when Manu was born, he was not born like a small baby and then growing. He was born big. That was the beauty of all these people, that when they were born, they didn't have to go to kindergarten. They were already grown up people. So they didn't have to go to school. When I used to go to school, I always used to think when this education will be over. And when I heard the story of Dhruv Maharaj, I used to think it's very nice that maybe someday I also meet God and he touches my cheek. Then I get all the knowledge, I don't have to study. I used to dream like that. So these people, they didn't have to go to school. They were very fortunate. Because going to school, I don't remember as a happy experience. I was happy when the schooling was over. So Manu was already grown up, and his wife was also grown up, and they already knew the language, they were knowledgeable, they were already educated in the principles of dharma, principles of etiquette, behavior, morality, customs, everything. They were nice products coming from Brahma. So therefore Vidura is asking that what did he do? Usually if somebody is born, you never ask this question. If a child is born to somebody, then you ask, what did this child do after taking birth? Nobody asks this question. Everybody knows the child will cry, drink milk and pass stool. What else the child does? Crying once in a while. So why is he asking this? That what did he do? So charitam tasya rajarsya radhirajasya sattama bruhi me shraddha dhanaya visvakshena shrayo hiyasya. He says that I would like to know the character of this saintly king. So that means Manu was already a king when he was born. Although there were no people to rule. So usually there is kingdom and then somebody becomes the king. Here it is other way around. That first the king is born, then he creates his kingdom. He is going to create. So he is a Rajarshi, he is a king, but he is a saintly king, which is very difficult to find now. And he is the Adi Raja. He is the first king. If somebody asks who is the first king, then Manu is the first king. Because before that there were no kings. So he says that I am very eager to hear, I am full of faith. And Visvaksen Ashrayo Hiyaso. He was devoted. The characteristic of a saintly king is that he is devoted to God. He was not an atheist, but he was devoted to Lord Visvaksena, who has his army all around. So why is Vidura asking this? Then he speaks next words. It says, Shrutasya punsham suchira sramasya nanuanjasa suri viridita yattad gunanu shravanam mukunda padaravindam hridayasuyasa. It says that if someone is educated, someone is learned among human beings, punsham srutasya, and he has studied, become educated after great effort, suchira srama. Education is not easy. It's a big tapasya. Somebody wants to study and become a scholar, it does not happen easily. It's a big austerity. So what is the purpose of it? What is the purpose of education? So it says the purpose of education, which is glorified by the learned, is Gunanushravanam Mukunda Padaravindam Hridayasuyasa. To hear the qualities, attributes of those people who have the heart, lotus feet of Lord Krishna in their heart. Means devotees. So that means perfection of education is to hear about great devotees of Krishna. This is the best education. Prahlada was also asked by his father. His father was very big demon, Hiranyakashipu, and a great atheist and enemy of Krishna. So he sent his son to study, and when the son came back home on leave, he was playing with his son. Parents, they take pleasure putting the son in their lap, and he was asking. Parents feel very happy when their children are learning something, some rhymes they are reciting. So he asked playfully that, what have you learned? And Prahlad was a great devotee, and he said, well, I have learned that doing bhakti to Krishna is the best education. So this was like 11,000 volt on the head of him. He could not take it. So it's my own son. So sometimes fate is like that people, they are torturing others. Mafias, they torture so many other people, but then their own son tortures them. So Hiranyakasipu was big atheist, and he was making so many people as atheists, turning them into atheists, but his own son was a great devotee, and he could not handle him. So, but he said this, that this is actually the best education. Because what will you do with the education? There are only two things you can do with education. One is that you can earn money, and other is that you will become free from the cycle of birth and death. What else? So best education is that which makes you free from material existence, and that is only possible through devotion. Therefore it says Mukunda Padarvinda. Mukunda means one who gives mukti. Muktim dadati Mukunda. So, and to hear about devotees is even more sweet, because by the behavior, by the activities of devotees, we understand how devotees deal with the Lord, and we also learn how we should behave, because what Krishna is doing, we are not supposed to imitate that. Our ideals are devotees, not God. God does so many things. We cannot do that. We cannot follow. We cannot imitate. So, yad yad acharti shrestha tattadevi tarojana. As great people act or behave, then others follow. So therefore, hearing about great devotees is very important. We get knowledge from their practical examples, how they dealt a particular situation, how they lived in this material world. God is God, He can do anything, He is all powerful. But a devotee is born in the material world, how he deals with the situation, how he dealt with his parents, how he dealt if he was married with wife and children, how did he maintain himself or herself. So this is very important. So here Manu, he is married, he is born with wife. It's very rare. Usually you are born, you grow up, then you get married. He was not free from wife for 5 seconds. He was born with her. So this is very amazing.
Handpicked very early on.
Yeah. So he is asking, how did he deal with this situation? Because householder people many times ask how to remain a devotee in married life, or how to remain a devotee in this life. Here is the example. Manu is not married only, but he was born married. I don't think there is any other example. Somebody is born married. So he says that this I would like to hear. Vaishnav katha shravanam vina vidusham api vidya vifala bhavati. Without hearing the activities of Vaishnavas, great devotees, the knowledge even of learned scholars becomes useless, futile. Because what will they do with that knowledge? if they are not hearing about great devotees, then they will simply engage in some debate, trying to defeat others, show off their knowledge. So he says, therefore he is saying that Sutasya Punsham Suchara Shramasya. Suchiram Shramo Yasmin Tasya means great labor has been performed to attain this knowledge. Gurumukhat Shrutasya Shastradi Adhyanasya ityartha. And especially if you have to study from a guru. If you study from internet, there is not so much labor in that. You can sit in front of the computer and study, or studying from the book. But when you have to study from the guru, that is not easy. So there is hard labor involved in it. Ayameva artha prayojana says this is the only purpose of this education, means hearing about the Lord. Idita stuta tadanyastu nindita, and this has been praised by Suris, liberated people, self-realized people. And all other purposes have been criticized, that is the meaning. Means if they do something else, then that is not worthy of praise but worthy of criticism. Sachaka, so what is that purpose? Yesham hridayeshu Krishna pada padamam vartate tesham gunanu shravana kirtanani. Says to hear and to praise all those people in whose heart Krishna's feet exist. So Krishna's feet existing in the heart means that people who are fully devoted to the Lord. Because whatever is in the heart, then that's what we do. So their feet signifies here service basically. Feet is symbolic of doing service. So they have Krishna's feet in their heart means that they are devotees, they are engaged in service. And if we hear about them, then we will also be inspired to do that service. And doing service is the only thing which will elevate our consciousness. Because in the material world we don't want to do service out of our ego. Because to do service, then only we become humble. Then we become situated in our constitutional position. And if we do no service, then we remain proud. So that's why these ashrams are made. Ashram means where you go and do some shrama. Means service, some labor. That is the meaning of ashram. Ashram is not for lazy people. Now lazy people come to ashrams. But actually ashram is a place for active people, intelligent people. Because this is the sign of intelligence, that you do service. But because of our pride, our ego, we are not interested in that, or we don't like it, and that becomes an obstacle in our spiritual life. So doing service is very important, and for that hearing is important. Unless we hear it, we will not accept it. When we hear that great personalities who are doing service, then we also become inspired to do it. So this was the question which was asked by Vidura. So basically Vidura is a devotee and his interest is in hearing about another devotee. He himself is a great devotee, so great that Krishna remembered him just before leaving earth. And here we understand that he himself, being such a great devotee, wants to hear about other devotees. So it is actually always a pleasure to hear about real devotees of Krishna. It is very fulfilling, very satisfying, because their activities are selfless. A devotee is not a selfish person. We don't like to, if we hear about selfish people, then we get disturbed. Either we become upset, angry, envious of them, criticize them. When we hear about devotees who are selfless, and being selfless, only you can do service. If we are not selfless, then we don't serve. Then we do some kind of business. I do something because I gain something. Either I gain something at the gross level or I gain something at the subtle level. I may gain some praise, some flattery to my ego, something I have to gain. But a selfless devotee is not interested in that. He does so, only such people do real service. And that is very purifying even to hear about it. Even to hear the activities of a selfless devotee is purifying. What to speak of meeting them, talking to them, serving them. So now Sri Sukha Vacha, Sri Sukadeva Goswami, he said, Iti Brvanam Viduram Vinitam Sahasra Srishnas Charanopadhanam Prahrishta Roma Bhagavat Kathayam Praniyamano Mairabhya Chashta. Sukadeva Goswami said that when Vidura was speaking like this, Brvanam, and how was Vidura? Vinitam. He was very, very humble. Humility is the carrier of bhakti. Bhakti comes riding on humility. You have seen that all the gods, they have their carrier. Vishnu has Garuda, Brahma has Swan, Durga has the lion. So all these things have significance, why they have particular carrier. Ganesh has his chuha, his mouse. So what is the carrier of bhakti? Bhakti Devi is also person. So what is her carrier? Her carrier is humility. She rides humility. So Vidura is very humble devotee. Very, very humble. We know in Bhagavatam how Duryodhana was criticizing him and he left. So because he is humble, therefore he is so great that he is called here Sahasra Sirshnas Charanopadhanam. He is called here as the pillow for the feet of Krishna. You make pillow for the head. That may not be so humble, but he is the pillow for his feet. Big people have many pillows. Poor people have one pillow, or not even that. But rich people, they have many pillows. So they have pillow for the hand, pillow for the neck, pillow for the feet. So Vidura is called here as the pillow for Lord Krishna. So how is that? So that is explained by the commentator. We will read it. And when he was speaking, then what happened to the great sage Maitreya? He became ecstatic. Prahrist Roma, his hair stood on the end. This is a very amazing thing. This is something which has to be experienced. That somebody is asking question and the speaker is becoming so joyful that he is going into raptures. So this shows that just by hearing the question, Maitreya has knowledge and Vidura has bhakti. And just by his asking question, Maitreya is getting devotion, the waves of devotion. Maitreya is also devotee, but the devotion of Vidura is influencing Maitreya, the speaker. Usually we will think that it is the speaker who will influence the audience. Here it is other way around. That Vidura is just asking question and he says, Iti Bruvanam Viduram. Vidura was just speaking. And then what happened? Prahrist Roma. He was having goose pimples in his body. His voice was choking. So, Praniyamano Munirabhyachasta, Bhagavat Kathayam. So, he, the sage, he was like made to absorb in the Katha, in the activities, pastimes of the Lord. And therefore, after that, then the Muni, he spoke, Abhyachasta. So, such a wonderful meeting. What an association it would have been, this dialogue between Vidura and Maitreya. This is education. What can compare with this? When these two people are just sitting and talking. You can imagine what a scene. They are sitting in Haridwar on the bank of Ganga river. The river is flowing, making it sound nice, and there is no air pollution, no noise of the mics or anything. They are sitting peacefully and absorbed. You can imagine that even the river would have stopped to hear these people. Let me also hear what they are saying. Sahasra Shirsha Vidura Sanka Nivrityartham Tadgrihe Dhrita Sahasra Shirsha Vigraha Sri Krishnastasya Charanayor Updhanam Ubhadha Rupam Mahabharate Vidurgrihe Bhojane Bhagavans Tadutsange Charano Nidhaya Suswapeti Prasiddha. So why he is called here as the pillow of Lord Krishna? Because he says that when Krishna went to Hastinapur as a peace messenger before the Kurukshetra war began, because Pandavas were camping and Krishna made a final attempt to avoid this war. When he went there and Duryodhana heard that Krishna was coming as a messenger, so being a king, and king are very diplomatic, so he thought that somehow I have to influence Krishna. And Krishna was also Duryodhana's relative. Duryodhana's daughter was married to Krishna's son. So he was also related. But he knew that Krishna is favoring the Pandavas, because Krishna's sister was married to Arjuna. So somehow he wanted to influence Krishna, and he knew that if Krishna could come on their side, then Pandavas will become very weak and it will be very easy to defeat them. So he made very big arrangements to receive Krishna. Like some big celebrity or some big minister or some big authority comes and you want to receive that person, then you make big arrangement on the road. You make gates, at least in India they do that. Bring this banana plants and put them together and make leaves and flowers and garlands. So all this arrangement was made to receive Krishna. And music, Senai, Kirtan. So he did all this arrangement and food distribution, and he prepared a very big feast for Krishna, that when he comes then he will have a nice feast. So Krishna came and he saw, and he immediately understood that this is diplomacy. He was able to see through the trick because he is also the god of diplomacy. So he knew what is in the mind of Duryodhana. So he passed through the road and he did not stop at the palace. Everybody was there waiting and that he will come, and he just went. And he went to Vidura's house. And when he went to Vidura's house, Vidura was not there. His wife was there. And Vidura is living in a small hut. And his wife was taking bath. And there was no bathroom. In India, in the village, how the ladies take bath, when they have this cot, with the ropes which you had. So they make it stand. And they put a cloth and they go to the other side and they take bath. This becomes their bathroom. Because there is no bathroom there. Like these rickshawalas are living here, they don't have bathroom. This is how they take bath. So she was taking bath, and then Krishna came at that time. So suddenly she is just wrapped around the sari and she was like half naked. And Krishna came there. Of course, Krishna was like child to her. And then Krishna said that I am hungry. After all, he's traveling a big distance. And his pitta was up. And he says, give me food, otherwise I'm going to get migraine. So when you are hungry and very hungry and you want to balance your pitta, best thing is eat a banana. Because banana is basic, it is anti-acid. So she gave him a banana. And she was so baffled with the whole thing, Suddenly Krishna appears. Who would expect Krishna to appear in this hut, Krishna is a royal person, he's not an ordinary person. He doesn't go like that. When this type of people walk, there are at least 10 people walking in front of them, announcing the arrival, And here he drops himself and he asks for food, of all things. So she was so baffled, confused, and anxiety that there was some banana. She gave banana to eat. And she was so much out of wits, so to say, that she was throwing the banana and giving the peel to Krishna. So it happened. And Krishna was eating the peel. And he was eating the peel and he was relishing it. It so happened that suddenly then Vidura came there and he saw that Krishna is eating the peel. So he was eating his head. He says, what is this? What are you doing? Stop it. And Krishna says, stop what? Because he was also so much absorbed, because she was giving me with so much love and he was eating. He did not know that he is actually eating the peel. He thought that he is eating banana. And he says, what? He says, my dear Lord, you are eating the peel. He says, but it is so tasty. So then Vidura made him sit down and he gave him whatever little bit sabji, dal, rice he had. And then Krishna relaxed. So there it is said that he put his feet in the lap, because they did not have a pillow. Where was the pillow there? The poor people. So he put his feet in the lap of Vidura and slept. So it says, Vidura grihe bhojane bhagwan. He ate in the house of Vidura, and then he put his feet in the lap of Vidura and he slept. So this is amazing about certain devotees and how Krishna was so much attracted by the devotee. So Vidura is a very great devotee of the Lord, that Krishna personally went there. He was invited and he did not eat, and he is going himself and asking for food. So how much love he must have for his devotee. And then being in this humble situation and eating the humble food and then sleeping there on some chatai, some mat. So praniyamana tena pravartamana. So now the sage, his mind turned into Bhagavad Katha, and he himself was so much absorbed that he became ecstatic. He went into samadhi. Maitreya was experiencing samadhi just by hearing the questions of Vidura, who was such a great devotee. So another thing which is mentioned here is that Krishna has manifested here when he was at the house of Vidura. It seems he manifested 1,000 heads.
Krishna.
Yeah. Sahasra Sirsha Vigraha. To remove the doubt of Vidura. Of course, he does not mention what was Vidura's doubt or predilection. But probably Vidura was afraid that Krishna has come here and Duryodhana is going to plot something against him. So he would have been worried for the safety of Krishna. Because Duryodhana tried to arrest him in the assembly later on in Mahabharata. The story is there that when Krishna went and spoke, then Duryodhana, he tried to arrest Krishna and put him in the prison. But Krishna said that you don't know, I was born in prison. And even as a child I came out of prison. So you can't put me in prison. So that's my birthplace. So Vidura was probably scared, and therefore Krishna showed to him this form of Mahavishnu, so that he doesn't have to worry. He says, don't worry, I will take care of this Duryodhana. That's why he's called here as Sahasra Sirsha. So I'll stop here.